Thank you very much for. I want to appreciate the organizers of this training, the conference, for inviting me to discuss this very important topic. Am I clear enough?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'll be talking briefly on fundamentals of grant writing. And as we know, for researchers and postgraduate students, the life wire of our career is actually grants, and which, in extension, maybe job, and actually even the job too, you have to apply. So it's a form of grant writing in a way. And but before I actually start, I have this kind of something I wanted to write down. I want you to write down what's your plan on grant writing and winning in the next 5 years. I want you to write it down. 5 years, that's number one. Then in the next 10 years, what are your plans? What do you have in mind? How many grants do you have in mind, to win? Two, I after this class, I'm hoping that between 30 to 40 we take these things serious. Okay, so I wanted to write, I want to be one of the 30% that will implement what we are going to learn. So just put your name. I, Olusegun, will be one of the 30%. I'm sorry, I'm saying 30 because I will tell you the reason. And what are the fundamental things we want to actually learn, And yeah, so these are some of the things I have in mind that you just position your mind. So looking at the fundamentals of grant writing, like I said, is critical for academic life. That's the live wire of academic world. Writing and winning is critical to our sustainability as academicians. And sorry, I'll be talking from a personal experience, in this journey of writing and, as a lecturer. I study music, actually, and you'll be wondering, music, and so what? You know that music will not be, I'm not sure if there's any musician here, any musicologist. Because I know majority of us, maybe scientists, and maybe some of us linguists. To study music on its own you are almost at the disadvantage, because is it not to dance and sing? What else do they do, man? What do they do than dance and sing? And if you're in Africa, maybe you follow Fela and all the rest, or Whiskey, or now Asake, and then you sing at O2 Arena, lonely at the top. Actually, I think the song really fits us, because some of us were very lonely, in strange, this side of it. So I studied music in NCE, that is College of Education, and then my degree, master's, I had PhD. But as you know, I remember when I was in my first degree, someone asked me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm studying music." He said, "Bullshit! What a waste of time, waste of life. People are studying medicine. People are studying medicine, you are studying music. What do you want to, where do you want to work? Where do you want to, how will you feed? How will you cope with life? Likewise, actually, I just feel, I don't know, but I feel this is what I love. This is my passion. And that is the fundamental thing. What is your passion? Okay? Your passion is very critical. And then after my PhD, in fact, during my PhD, I got some ideas, and I started moving. Now we look at it here. What did you study? That's the first thing I'm going to ask. What are the inspirations you have? What determination? These are the fundamentals. for grant writing and winning? What are the innovations that you think you have, okay, in the global market? The passion, the vision. From what we've learned now about stress management, it's a kind of mindset, in this business, mindset in writing and writing again and losing and getting rejections and writing again and getting rejections. I specialize in what we call ecomusicology, which is when I look at what I did in PhD, and I say, okay, because I did my degree, master, PhD in Nigeria, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and then University of Ibadan. After the PhD, I told myself, where will this take me? What next? That is the question. What next? Because I don't just want to be a lecturer. Yeah, I got the lecturing job, but I was asked, I did something on indigenous music, music about people, the local people. But I asked myself, so what next? Where will this one take me? Because I could not see any future. But, in fact, I think choosing a PhD title is another thing. I want to do something, but my supervisor felt this is the best for me, and we have to go that way. And then, but it was not too funny because I couldn't see any future. And also music, there's kind of inferiority that you are studying music. And people, the way they look at musicians, not the Asake type, the academic musicians, they only know about Western music. Even the Western music, they cannot play it. But I have to think outside the box. I need to go extra mile. And that is why I started doing something on what we call ecomusicology, environmental musicology, or what I actually termed climatic musicology, looking at music, oil and gas. I'm sure you'll be wondering, how does it relate? Music and flood, music and honeybee, music and animals, music and plants, music and mining and gold mining, and music and Atlantic narratives. So things started moving. Things Doors started opening, and yeah, there are a lot of frustration there, and that's why I've come to this one, dealing with several rejections. Rejections are terrible. They are. Let me say, in few days, some month now, I've been discussing with some scholars in Europe, and there's one that just moved down to United Kingdom, and he said, sir, number one, there's no money. Yes, a lot. Can we mute? Maybe it's like a very noise. Sorry, please. It's kind of rejection. And the professor said, please, can you help this guy? I said, the problem is some of the things we did, the project we did in Nigeria, doesn't fit this side of the world. Sometimes we're about 30 years backward, all right? But now, coming here, then this person, they haven't seen this kind of training of, how do you write, how do you manage rejection, and one of them told me, enough is enough. I'm not applying again. Maybe I'm going to be selling something. Enough. Rejection every time. So, but you have this person has a PhD, So how do you deal with rejection? I remember I applied for American Council of Learned Society 5 times. The first time, I started applying since 2009. I only got it in 2022. So I did training for some groups, and the professor there was asking, Titus, how is it that you are getting grants? He said, my colleagues, I did a kind of referee for them, and they've applied twice, and they are discouraged. I said, okay, they applied for the same thing, ACLA, that is African Humanities Program. They applied twice, and they were kind of discouraged. I applied, I think I got it at the 5th attempt. So I keep on, yeah, I felt bad, but I told myself, I must win it. I must win it. And I won, right? The same thing, Kasim, I applied the first time, they said, thank you. And when you see, they said, dear Titus, after dear Titus, when they say thank you, I will just close it. I don't need any thanks. The next thing is, unfortunately, I said, do you think you are the only one that can say this? I can also write to you and say, thank you for this thing. I regret to inform you. You too, you are not the only one that can say I regret. I have that word in my dictionary too. And I regret to inform you. We have a pool of this. This is not as a result of your low. If my research is fantastic, take it. All right. But I have to encourage myself because rejection can actually could make one, have kind of depression, can lead to depression actually. Look at these pictures. You can see that these people are kind of depressed. A colleague of mine told me that she lost one application and she has to inform the family, please, I want to mourn for some days. We said, please stay in another room, let me stay in another. And she took time to cry and cry and cry. And after maybe the third day, she said, now I think I'm through, I'm back. It could be serious as that. So the point is, be sure rejection is part of this game. Have it in your mind that rejection is part of the game. Rejection is part of the game. And when you know that, it's a fundamental way of living. It isn't material whether you're a professor or you've been applying and you have been winning. All right? Rejection is part of the game. When you know this, you will not be too much distracted or depressed and tell yourself enough of it. You continue. But there are principles that you have to rework and look at like-minded person, and that is why we need mentorship. Actually, the problem with most of us from Africa is issue of mentoring. We rather have bad mentors or we don't have anyone. Okay, I was lucky to get an anthropologist, not a musicologist, when I was doing PhD, who kind of was guiding me. And then I was privileged to attend some French Research Institute for Africa. I actually got some grants and fellowship from them. And that one really helped me while I was when I was doing my PhD, University of Ibadan. So, and mentoring is critical. Let me ask you, do you have a mentor? Mentor is different from supervisor. Yeah, supervisor could be your mentor. But sometimes, from experience, supervisors sometimes are not always mentors. All right? You must seek for mentors. That's one of the things I did. When I was doing PhD, I drastically, I just look at who is doing something close. Actually, let me say after my PhD, when I knew that I want to go into this area, this new area, because nobody is doing it in Nigeria. We don't have any professors specializing in ecomusicology. Actually, they were telling me I was mad. I was crazy. What does music has to do with oil and gas? How does it relate? Do you think at all? In fact, one of my professors went as low as telling my students they should not listen to me. I'm crazy. But I think I like that kind of craziness because it has brought me a lot of money and grant and visibility. Right? So you must get a mentor that is up to, when you're talking about mentor, someone that is visible, you can see, it's not just that it's a professor. There are some professors that have not won even travel grants before, talking from Africa now. Okay, so you must look for a mentor. It's not compulsory that it must be in your field. Okay, someone that like, in the last class, lecture, you cannot discuss with someone that has not passed through what you are going through. All right, if you are telling to a professor that, sir, I lost this thing, who has never applied, say, we tell you, did you die? Even look at me, am I knowing? Well, has he applied before? Never. So he doesn't feel what you are feeling. Telling somebody that you got rejection, do you know how many hours, do you know how many months you spent on that application? Some denial, and then you didn't win, and then you tell someone, is that the reason why you want to kill yourself? If you die, they will just make jest of you and they double your problem. And that's why you must intentionally look for a mentor. How do you get a mentor? I try to look, when I was trying to develop this area of research in Nigeria, and you can check my name online, I tried to look for mentors in America. And I said, I checked their email online. I said, please, I'm almost like lonely person here. And I feel I need your mentoring hand. I've read your paper, even to buy your books. I cannot. Before you know it, this guy shipped books down to Africa, down to me, several books. Another one in Oxford, I said, look, and before you know it, doors were opening. So I wrote them. I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm lonely. I need you because I'm just starting this area of scholarship in Nigeria and basically in Africa. Okay, looking at music and environmental discourse. All right. Now, mentors, when you have a mentor, you will not go too far into the wilderness. You can be guided. And I ask you, after writing your proposal, like I asked someone yesterday or 2 days ago, I said, did you want to give it to somebody? He said, no, you don't trust anybody. So you must get a mentor you can trust and give to them to read. I rarely submit, I rarely send even abstract without giving to a mentor. All right, because I know he's not going to steal my idea and he's going to guide me. And with that, I tell you, because I'm going to tell you now, I've won several grants, fellowships, and here am I, musicologist from Africa. All right, so mentors are critical, and we cannot overemphasize it. Then another thing, another fundamental is, what are you bringing to the table? What is your research like? Let me use music as an example. When you are talking about music and you're talking about Handel, Bach, Western music, can you play Handel music better than Western people? No, you cannot. It's like you want to speak English or you want to speak German than German. No, you cannot. But you can bring original idea. How do you get the original idea? By reading. Complicate literature. Brand. What are you bringing to market? Our job is actually knowledge economy. And when you bring something branding to the market, you will sell. You will rebrand. It's a rebranding. I told somebody said, what? They invited me here and they said, what are you doing? I said, this is what I'm doing. They said, what you are doing is not, we don't know what you are doing. It's strange. I said, it's not strange. It's just the same song, but new conceptualization, new theorization, new methodology, and trajectory narratives or performativity of musical nuances. Okay. And and look, engaging ecological issues or environmental issues or climatic issues in global spaces, especially the transatlantic narrativity, or infrastructural activities, the kind of trajectory multidisciplinary attitude. So there are two things I want to say. One of my mentees, sorry to say, my colleague said, look, I have this idea and it's brilliant, it's new. I said, do you have any literature on it? He said, no, it's fresh. I said, no. Are you sure it's fresh? So by the time this person checked, I saw that this thing has been completed 20 years ago. I heard about someone from Africa that came to present paper here, and he felt this is original. But after his presentation, they said, so we thought you have something new. They said, have you read this book? I said, no. How about this book? No. How about this book? We've completed these studies in 30 years ago. So there's no way they can give you grants, fellowship on something that is not new. It must be the knowledge, it must be international, deterritorializing space, okay? Deterritorializing, knowledge economy. How much of knowledge economy do you have in your area of specialization? So it's not just this is what you want to do. How marketable is that? So marketability is critical. It's like, this new area, how marketable is you want to research on angels. Angels, do they sing? I don't know how marketable that will be, because I don't know how you are going to do your research, the methodology, because you may need to die and go to heaven and come back, and anyway. So how marketable, how realistic is this research that you have? So how the brand is the issue. So then how do you connect your research to global debate, sustainable development goals? So most of my writings, I try to link them to the 17 development, sustainable development goals. And then if it's not tailored towards this, I'm afraid it may not get, needed help and needed funding. I was telling someone that almost every year now, at least I get a fellowship or a grant or a travel grant and fellowship or research grant. And it's been, in fact, as I'm sitting down in Africa, in Germany now, UNESCO just called and said, Titus, there's a grant, and said, we're enlisting you for this thing, and it's going to be to 2025. So, now I can't apply for anything until 2025, maybe ending or early. So that is how busy you will be. And there are some that it is just online. You just do it online. So there are several types of, and I'm talking about music, but now I go beyond music. I go to noise. I talk about noise. I talk about fish. I try to terrorize like aqua musicology or blue urbanism or blue humanity or blue economy, which is transatlantic narratives or kind of oceanic trajectories about ocean or sounding the ocean, sounding the ocean and cultural milieu in terms of its applicability to nature, to climate change, and to sustainability of life, and that is a non-human centric kind of in nature. So you have to go beyond just the narrow or myopic areas in your field and make your world kind of globally multidisciplinary in nature. Like now I was telling someone I'm looking at the topic sounding the mathematics of the rain. It looks strange because there is sound, which is music, there's mathematics, and there's rain. That is talking about flood. How do you calculate how do you measure the mathematics of rain in terms of the soundscape or landscape, okay, or waterscape that could sequentially give us the narratives of flood disaster that leads to deaths and all the rest. So your title is actually another thing that we are going to talk about. So global debate is critical to our winning, the writing and winning. Like I said before, multidisciplinary. Look at this: research on business models, okay? Then product development, then research on sustainable development. The summary is business modeling for sustainable product development. So that is where we are. Now, do you see any problem around you? Can you see any problem around you? Most of us here, we are from Africa. Can you see any problem here? Look at generators for electricity. No, I engage soundscape from electricity. Now I go beyond just musical to extra musical sounds, and link it to generator, and then the fumes, which is air pollution, okay, and noise pollution, within the city space or urbanization. This is what we desire. These are the kind of cities we desire. Look at the wildfire. That's a problem. Can you see problem? Can you problematize an issue? Okay, look at solid waste. There's waste here and there. This is market and all the rest. These are problems that need our research. Actually, research is to be tailored towards the problem. I was in South Africa and I was talking about soil, music and soil. And after my presentation, that's my early year, someone said, please, we want to use your paper as part of our policy for farming. I said, what do you say? Music paper for farming system? This is a big farmer there. He said, yes, I can see some of your conclusions. They will help us in our policy. I said, in Nigeria, no, I didn't even know there's anything policy in my paper. I never imagined they can even think of policy in my paper because this is music. But they said they want to pick some of my conclusions as a way of formulating policy for their farming system. And that was when I said, what? And before you know it, 3 months after that, they said, are you free? Please come back to South Africa. This one, I don't need to apply, all right? Fully sponsored. These are some of the challenges that, if you know, farming system, environmental system, poverty, and now we're talking about coup d'etat in West Africa and Central Africa. Can you do something about it? I'm already doing, that's what I'm telling you now, because I'm looking at musicking, you know, musicking, extractivism, and coup d'etat, or the politics of extractivism and coup d'etat in West Africa. And I'm going to get grants. There's no way I won't get, because it's current. I'm using music as a medium of engaging this kind of thing, and it's spreading. So how do you engage now? Why are we not publishing and winning grant proposals? Why? Poor academic foundation, lack of capacity training. That's why this training is very critical. I know some of us, maybe this is the second time we are attending, or we have been attending, but we have not actually been using it. It's after attending, we are not doing anything about it. It won't jump on you. You must apply. That's why I said I want you to be part of the 30% people that will engage issue of writing and publishing. Now, writing is one thing, winning is one other thing, which we have discussed that. And there are several reasons why we are not winning. Poor academic foundation. Our foundation is actually, I'm sorry to say, most of us that we completed, Nigeria, kind of, we have weak foundations. We have weak. I remember, let me tell you, like I said, I faced a lot of rejections, and I still face some, but I wrote something to one of my mentors in University of London, and he said, Titus, your idea was good in 1970. So I'm a kind of 40 years backward. I said, what? I'm being celebrated. I just completed my PhD. I'm being celebrated in Africa. I'm one of the, my department said, oh, doctor. He said, your idea was good in 1970. So I have to now retain kind of critical thinking. Critical thinking will actually lead to critical reading, for critical writing, and critical engaging. Lack of capacity training, lack of good mentors. These are the fundamentals. Lack of motivation. You are like some of us here, we just came for this meeting. Let me even hear what I'm going to say. But your mind, you are rejected. You are environment. You feel like, you feel you are not even hearing them. The competition is high. They are insult, and you just feel, look, maybe I should go back to Africa. No, many of us, we actually want to go back. Actually, past rejections, satisfaction with this one is like, oh, no, like people in Nigeria. I said, oh, at least my salary is constant. Those in Africa or Nigeria said, at least I'm collecting my 200,000. I will manage it. I will trek. It's well done that there's no fuel. Lack of critical thinking. If you are going to win grant at all, there's something I normally do. I say, what are they actually talking? What do they want? So sometimes I can just read the call for paper and just put myself in the position of the person that will judge. Because I will go and look, who are the people that will review this? I will go and check their papers. What are they saying? What exactly do they want? Okay? And I try to read their mind psychologically through their papers, I will read sometimes, and we ask questions. Are you saying, is this what you mean? Are you actually saying this? Some will reply. Then unwillingness to change. I remember one of my colleagues, I've been troubling him that you must win ground, you must win. And I discovered that Yoruba proverb said, it is he who knows the value of gold that will get it. And he did something, and I said, this is too technical. We are talking about music structuralism and all this structuralism technicality. I said, the world is looking for multidisciplinary. He got offended and said, no, I'm not doing it. I will publish it. I said, yeah, you're right. And he got offended. So unwilling to change. We are not willing to change. And sometimes you may even need to enlarge your research scope. You need to do. Now, we are going to do some practical steps. Like, this is conference fully funded. And when we talk about grants, we talk about conferences, fellowships and research grants, that we need. So we are going to work on that. I'm sure we are going to create, if you don't have a platform, we are going to create one. Like by God's grace, some of the platform after the training, we create one. Some of these calls, we put them there, then we apply. All right. Maybe some of you have been here, you are battling with going to the field, no money. But there are conference calls. There are conferences that will be fully funded. Okay. And this is one of them. How do you attempt this kind of conference call? And then, but I want to go to fellowship. How do you answer fellowship calls? This is a CAPiG fellowship. I won this fellowship in 2020 in Munich. And they want us to talk about honeybee. All right. What they want us to talk about is what? Honeybee. How do I relate honeybee to music? What does honeybee has to do? Nothing actually, because some music has been said, the definition is all to do with human beings singing and playing. But I have to create, critical thinking. So I have to use my critical thinking to talk about honeybee, and I won the grant. I won the fellowship or visiting grant. So they want you to do kind of a letter, a statement of purpose or whatever, or your motivation letter. Look, this is what I write. You have to position yourself as if you are the best. Say, I write to apply for Rachel Carson Center postgrad, blah, blah, in the following. I hope to demonstrate how much I could bring to research to save the bee. For my research and teaching field is well for this position. I completed PhD, blah, blah, blah. My extensive teaching, blah, blah, blah. My research is multidisciplinary, connecting music, health, environment, and space. In particular, I work on music and out of hospital, landscape music and urbanism, music and environmental degradation, music and plastic waste, music and sustainability question, music and racial continental spaces and landscape. All right. In some of my research, theme is thinking globally, whereas global environmental issues and climate change are in tension with global powers. And this is a fit with my scholarship in environmental musicology. Environmental musicology narrates of water, air, and land, and blah, blah, blah. The center thesis, then my global research output. So there's a way you coin yourself. You have to tell your stories. If you don't tell your story, nobody will tell for you. Like I'm telling you my stories now. My global output, I was here, this person mentored me, I have this person, Impi mentored me, I was in this thing in this year, I was here this year, I was in Oxford this year, I was there this year, I was mentored by this, and during my, so I this, at least we are going to have this PowerPoint paper, and I will send it to us so that we can see how do you tell your story to win. All right, then you have to give what call it 2 pages CV, and then what are the essential things you need to give in 2 pages CV? Hello. Oh, sorry. So okay. So what are the things to tell? Then your publications. Now I want to show you. These are some of the fellowship I have won. By the grace of God, I completed PhD 2013. So I'm 10 years, I'm doing 10 years celebration, a decade. And in these 10 years, I have won 6 research grants, 30 travel grants, and 11 postdoctoral and fellowships. All right? So let me say 12 years, because I started winning before I completed my PhD. Some of the fellowships are fellow Alexander Humboldt, that's what I'm doing here, experience fellowship, fellow Constance. I actually got 2 fellowships, while preparing for Humboldt, I got another one. All right. And Humboldt, so some of you might want to apply for Humboldt. I'll be willing to guide. All right. Then fellow Prosper Andrew Mellon and visiting scholar, Rhodes University. Fellow casting and visiting scholar, LMU, Munich. Fellow Charter City. I could not do this, I could not honor this one, but I won it because I was on 1 fellowship. So sometimes I have 3 fellowships at the same time. Then fellow American Council of Learned Society, that's Carnegie sponsored. Fellow Oxford University, AFOX Touch and visiting scholar. I'm reading it so that it's seen to you that you can win it. Senior Research Fellow, UNESCO. Actually, that's what I'm saying. This UNESCO It's going to, it's taking me almost 2 years, and then, and then we have Ford Foundation. Okay, I don't know if I put Ford Foundation here. I didn't state all of them here. Ford Foundation and Feminists, they gave me grants. Then Leventis, I was Leventis, and then French Research Institute, they gave me both grants and fellowship. So fellowship, you are there doing something, then grants, So you can win. It's a possibility. I study music, but this has, and like I told you, apart from this that I listed, I've won 30 travel grants. Some years, I remember a year I got about 6 travel grants, fully sponsored, including the visa payment. Okay, and you wonder, what is this? Because of what you are bringing to the table. If what you are bringing to the table is not fascinating, nobody will call you. I have a talk tomorrow. I'm doing training tomorrow apart from this. And then on the 11th, ERC, European Research Council, someone got a grant, some millions of euro. I've been invited to give a talk about Niger Delta oil and gas in relation to music. But not only Niger Delta, Zambia and South Africa. So I kind of globalize African globalization of music, and so these are some of the some grant funding organizations. Ford Foundation, you can be here in Europe and win all these. All these groups, they fund my research. All right, you can win while you are here. You can UCT, SWAS, Rhodes, Mellon, Humboldt Fellowship. I'm also a consultant for DAAD, that the one in Nigeria and also in Zambia. So I study music and I know you can win. That is why 40 minutes will not be enough to discuss all we need to say regarding I've gone beyond my time. Please just give me 2 minutes. I'll be over. I will conclude now. So the summary is this: if you have been facing rejection, it's normal. The only thing is that look for mentor. And just to tell you, I'll be, by God's grace, I know I'm very busy because I'm writing a book on ecomusicology, oil and gas, Niger Delta, and some part of Africa. But I'll be willing to help you look at your proposal, which I do, because I'm happy to tell you that I've been mentoring several persons that we have not even seen face to face, and they are winning, and they continue to win. And I have a lot of testimony that by God's will, I have several platforms that of PhD students, early career, they said sometimes, and my joy is that the testimony is that they have been winning, because you must look at the eyes of, you put yourself in the position, I put myself in the position of reviewers, and what are they looking for? What they are looking for is in the book, is in the core. Or you can go extra mile and check their publications. And finally, when I was looking for hosts for Humboldt, I needed one. Some said, I'm looking for hosts. I got 4. And this one said, please come to me. So, and I needed just one, actually. Just one, but I got 4. And the remaining one of them now, we are working on music and cocoa, chocolate. And then we got some funding for it. We are publishing it. No, we go beyond music and soil, music and the air, music and anything, actually. But within my research scope. So I believe you can win. And most of us say we're scientists. Science actually owns the world. We humanities, we are just using style to steal small little. I do music and HIV, music and cancer, music and depression, music and stress management. I'm publishing some of these ones. Music and dental. I'm collaborating with College of Health Science because I'm also a medical musicologist and peace building scholar. I try to triangularity of ecomusicology, medical musicology, and peace building in my research focus. So I believe from now you can win, but be ready to work. And be ready to work, not just work hard, but work smart. Work smart. Don't worry all the rejections. We will pick them up. I'll be willing to guide as much as possible. Some of us that want to move to the next, maybe a job or something, we can work on it. We can also create a platform to look at what is actually the problem. Why am I not being picked? Because I'm here now. I'm here now. I got two fellowships, so you can get. I got from the Humboldt, I got Constance, and other people are actually calling. Where do you want to come to my university? I said, no, I'm already, my hand is full. So I believe by the grace of God, we will get there. Thank you for listening.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Olusegun. That was really, really inspiring. Wow, I can only say, wow. So your presentation actually shows that nothing is impossible, and it's all a matter of consistency and persistency, and then you have to like work hard to be able to achieve your goals at the end of the day. Please, if you have any question, you can drop them in the. Can you please mute yourself?
This sound.
Okay, so yeah, before I take in any question, I have just one question. Doctor, you mentioned that you mentioned the importance of mentorship, and then you also mentioned you said that rejection is part of the journey, that you have to like know that you will get numerous rejection, and then you just have to be used to the rejection that you're getting. Please, my question is, how do people cope with several rejection, putting in mind that we have different personality traits? Yeah, the way that you cope with rejection can be different from the way that I cope. Do you have anything that you can say about that?
Okay, thank you for that brilliant question. Coping with rejection is kind of different categories and typologies, actually. For instance, I have a mentee that after she got a rejection, she actually had a kind of blood
pressure.
So I have to calm her down, talk to her, don't worry. Do you know something? I'm with you in this. So I'm promising you, you will get it. Mm-hmm. Look, I have to tell them I wrote 5 times. I was rejected. The same people. 5 times, the same fellowship, but I got it at the end. And now I'm even an advisor. You know, I'm not just a postdoc there now. I'm an advisor. Okay, so what I would say is rejection. Like I said, when I apply, I try not to apply for just one. Like maybe I didn't mention it. I try to apply in a month, even till now. I try to apply for not less than 5 different fellowships. Okay, if you apply for just one and you are rejected, you will feel bad. But I so plan my time. Like when I was in Nigeria, 8 to 10 in the morning is mine. I off my phone. I don't stay in the office. I go and read and do this. It's rather I'm writing or I'm doing something. I don't. I make sure nobody. Not even my HOD will come. He will not even get me in the first place, right? And I try to apply for many grants, starting from the little ones, because if you have never applied for any grant, I will not advise you to attempt Humboldt, because that one is too big, right? Except you have, I don't know, except you maybe have fantastic papers, right? You can start with Leventis, and there are several calls. There are so many. Even as I'm going to share some with us, as I'm sitting down here, I have nothing less than 3 to 4 travel grants, fellowships. I get them almost every day. But I'm just giving them to my mentees, and they are winning. In fact, my undergraduate students, they are winning. Undergraduate students, and they are publishing their papers. One just won yesterday, undergraduate. The result is not out. And my master student just crossed to America. I said, look, go. I want them to be out of Nigeria. And they are winning. So how do you cope? Is to tell yourself, I will surely win. To be determined. Okay, when I get the rejection, I just put it behind me. I tell myself, I will win this. It's a matter of time. I will get it. All right. And let me tell you this, in the past 24 hours or 48 hours now, I got 4 rejections. Between 2 days ago and now. And that's the travel grant. I applied, but I got 4 rejections. So rejection is still okay, still normal. But as I'm getting that rejection, I'm also getting acceptance. But I'm consistent. Consistency. All right.
Okay, thank you. Joseph, you can ask your question, please.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Dr. Olusegun, thank you very, very much for your quite expository presentation. It's honestly an eye-opener. So I have several questions, but I'll try to see how I can, because every point you raised, I was just noting questions about several, but I'll limit them. First, you made mention of going through the profile of the reviewers after applying for your grant. There are situations where you don't even know who the reviewers are. For instance, let's say TED Fund, yeah, back in Nigeria, the call for grant application. You don't even know the team. You won't even have an idea. So how do you know who are the team? Because you have different fields and thematic areas. So how do you know these are the people that will be, excuse me, part of the review team? So you can go through their profile, their publications and interests, so you can dazzle them when the time arrives. That is one. Two, I want to believe you are expected to make publications at every fellowship you get. But from your profile, I saw one of the fellowships you had for just 2 months, October to December. So I don't know how you are expected within two months, especially in my field, because I'm in the environmental and soil science. How are you expected to carry out a research within that short period of time to be able to generate usable information for publication? Then, thirdly, as you rightly said, during your PhD, you had a fellowship grant, yeah? But there are some PhD studies, like some fundings, that explicitly will state that whilst you are under our funding scheme, you are not expected to get any further grants. So in such a case, how is one expected to run or start applying for grants or fellowships to run them concurrently? Then the last question, while you made an example stating you, in a month, you can apply for up to 2, 3, 4 grants. I want to know, is it a single idea you are just sending out, or for each of the applications you have to check through their conditions and refurbish and edit your work and send them? Because there may be the possibility that because that's one of the things we get to learn, that you need to have every idea, new idea in every application, so that you don't end up having same idea. Maybe one person is in like 3 different interview team or panel, because most of them are consultants, just like you rightly said yourself. Imagine someone applied to 3 other organizations you are a fellowship to, and you're part of the review panel, and you see the same proposal in these 3 different applications by the same applicant. Is it advisable, or you have to, like, for every application, you have to tweak your ideas, or do you have many ideas that at every point in time you can just fling them to every application? Thank you very much. I think I'll just stop there for now.
Your question is almost like my presentation. All right, let me just summarize. Can I go ahead with the answer?
Yes, please. Yes, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so let me start with the third one.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was in college, I actually won that one because I wrote on music and HIV, and I won it. And the same year I won the travel grant, and and I was lecturer too then. And after that, the college said they put a stamping. If you are not a chief, you cannot apply for anything. So, but before they know it, I moved to university. So what I'm saying is, when we talk about grants, I'm not including TED fund because sometimes politics is involved. Yeah. I we have to learn the tricks actually, but sometimes it's kind of no man is going on in that, and sometimes you have to. I'm sorry to say, give kickback. There must be some arrangement. So it may not be all, but many things are happening in terms of TED fund. So so that is my own. So when I talk about winning grants, actually TED fund is not part of what I'm talking about because it's not, because that one, you are me, and the people they want to give you 20 million and they want you to send back 5 million to them as a gift. So I mean, it's not
I have
because
that experience.
it's not because you want it, but because they want you to share the money. So if they see a vibrant proposal, because I'm asking myself now, I've won several grants. Why am I not winning? Since I came to university, I've not been able to win. I said I won there's one I won at a time, but I mean that is a institute-based research. But they said I'm not yet confirmed, and so I can't get it, so they can now process it. But since then, I've been winning outside all over the world except Nigeria. So I just told myself it's like my fortune is not is not in Nigeria, but I'm enjoying the outside fortune. I mean, so but the truth is this: when I talk about you reading the minds of people that we reviewing, I mean, for instance, the person for instance, they want to talk about ecology and honeybee. Okay, I know that in my mind, the people that will review it will be special. There will be general people, there will be multidisciplinary people they give to normal, but people that will also be major factor are the scholars in that area. I go online. I don't need to know them. I go online. Who are the scholars in this area? When you type it, you bring down all their names. Read one or two papers in that place. You understand? And even cite them in your proposal. Cite them. Then when somebody, for instance, if I'm reviewing your paper and even the paper is not too, I mean your proposal, but you're citing me, there's no way I will not give you extra mark. Because especially in the Western world, it's a joy to see you citing their paper. You understand? So that is it. It doesn't mean that you know them, but you have to go extra you have to go extra mind of searching online, not just what is in the, not just the proposal. And they will put you, in fact, sometimes they put the names and say, this is the board of people that will review. Already they've given you expo and say these are the group of, they've given you that. There's music there. Yeah, I'm a musician, but I don't need music now, I beg. So so you have to, the people down on the call, go and read about their paper, go and read their paper. If possible, cite their paper, tell them this person has worked on this person worked on this. However, this is the area I'm coming from, which he has not worked. They will be happy. You understand? So this some of things is tricky and political too. But if you do it very well, I'm sure you win. Then publication during fellowship. Sometimes I remember 2014, the first flash fellowship, I was in University of London, and my host, I was supposed to write a paper. Actually, I planned a book in 10 months, 10 weeks. I planned to write a book. My host said, Titus, the way I'm looking at you, you are just fresh PhD from Nigeria. And there's like, you don't have access to some of these books. So forget about writing, just read. Just read. That was when I even got the idea of ecomusicology. I was just reading many books that I don't have access to. While I was doing my PhD, I was busy. I didn't publish anything. I took the time to read, not just reading, reading and jotting and making and I have my mind. I was reading what is new, what is really things related to what I want to do. So after it, in fact, it was after the second year. So sometimes they know that you cannot complete a paper within 2 months or even 4 months sometimes, unless you have been working on it. So, but by the time the paper is through, maybe a year after, acknowledge them and send it to them that, you have to acknowledge them, acknowledge University of London and AG Leventis for sponsoring. Yeah, you are fulfilled already. So it doesn't mean that you must fulfill it, you must complete in that 2 months. No, they too know that it's not possible. So that's about that. Then PhD and other grants. When I was doing my PhD, I was in college. My college said they cannot give me third fund. They were giving me 60,000 naira every month. But the truth is, if it is third fund, if you are given third fund does not have. I don't think third fund is given any law that you must not get any other grants. No. And the truth, I remember one professor that was sharing with us was telling us that this is from a French person, said when he was doing his PhD, he got 3 fellowships for that same PhD. 3 fellowships, all right? He got this one, and this one. Yeah, for instance, the AAD, a friend of mine was discussing with me that he got the AAD, and then he need to go and do some field work. But the AAD is not ready to sponsor any field work. So how do you get the money for that? DAD will not give you money to go to Africa to sample some from different countries. If you don't get extra funding, you will be stressed. You'll be stressed. And because how much is the DAD give? By the time you remove your accommodation and other things, yeah, we thank God it's coming, but it won't be enough. So, and that is why there's nothing for you. I mean, those that say you don't apply for any other grant, that means they are giving you enough money. Anyway, I've not seen one that will say don't apply for it. They only say, what I've seen is that, please, if you get another grant, let us know. That is what some will tell you. If you get an extra grant, let us know. And that there's nothing bad in it. Tell them, I got this little amount, I want to use it for this. And you also acknowledge them in the publication. That is only their gain. When you acknowledge them, they can also use it to get more grants from where they are getting the money from. So I don't think any group, how much are they giving you that they say no, must not apply for any other place? No, it doesn't. That might be, but please let them know that you need, will they give you all this? Will they give you this? Will they supply this? Tell them you need this and you need grants for it. I'm sure there are rules and they can be changed because they want you to be successful too. So our new ideas, like I said, I apply for sometimes 5 fellowships in a month. Yes, sometimes what I do is this, because my area is new, and it's not because my area is new. There's something they call, like I said, critical thinking. Critical thinking. For instance, I'm talking about ecomusicology, and I'm talking about honeybee. Okay? I'm talking about honeybee. Can I talk about another insect that will bring different objectives and musical narratives? Can I talk about aquamusicology and maybe the fish, or the sand in the sea, or the water, or the salt? So in this aqua, okay, there are several things you can talk about, which will be very specific with specific objectives and different objectives and maybe related literature. You understand? So it's a kind of meandering your work. And I know God will help us. I believe in God. And I believe of divine inspiration. So you can also pray, God, I need inspiration for this. So it's possible. It's possible to do it. All right, it's possible. Then so if you are sending the same application to different places, it's dangerous. It's better you meander, you change something, change you what do you call it? But sometimes they won't tell you this is what we want you to write about. So there's no way you have to stick to what they want. In the case they didn't specify, then you have to meander so that, because it's going to be, for instance, specialists will read it and it won't be a fine, because it's be as if you are doing the sorry, I'm speaking Yoruba. You are doing what do you call it? You are gaming. You are doing You know, so it's not, it won't be, it's not, it ethically, it's not ethical. Actually, like I said, sometimes I can just pick animal. I want to call the sounding the cow, you know, because music is so wide. You're sounding the music and the soil. I worked on music and soil, and I was the external examiner PhD for one in South Africa. You're wondering how is music connected with soil? I will tell you after. And I got money from it. I got funding. All right. So I think I will stop here.
I would even love to hear about that because I'm a soil scientist.
Oh,
I'm quite amazed.
Don't worry, you will get grant, music and soil. You will get grant.
This is the first time I'm hearing that. I'm amazed.
Okay. There's no time to
Doctor.
talk. Even your reference letter can fail you. Reference letter alone can fail you. I remember one of my friends told me, they call her, sorry for cutting you, please. You know, that is why it's not just any professor that can write reference letter for you. He's very moral, he's very religious, I know him, very psychological. No, that is not reference letter. They want you to engage the work of the person in the referee letter. They want you to, but he doesn't even know about what you are doing. So what if I've been teaching him for long? That is not reference letter. And because they grade referee letter, so it's not everybody that can actually do referee letter for you. So that one is very critical. That sometimes you may have a good proposal, but you can lose because they grade, and everything counts when it comes to grants. You know, they can push you down and say your referee letter is very washy. You know, why do you pick this person to write for you? The person may be it's better you write very well, look for a person to write and go and give it to a person to sign than say, okay, write for me. He will just write what he knows. And many of our professors, they don't travel, they don't go anywhere, so they don't even know what is current. They don't know how to write. You can't tell them, but we know that they can't write referee letter. So your referee letter is critical. It's as important as the proposal itself.
I totally agree.
Sir, plan your day. That means you don't have time for too much chat on TikTok. Okay? You have more time to do on Facebook. Before I go to Facebook to look for research grants and travel grants. That's what I use Facebook for, because I know there are some chats, in fact, that's another thing I'm going to tell us. How do you get these calls? Like I told you, as I'm talking to you now, I have nothing less than 5 calls that are coming next year. And I can't go to all of them. I only send it to my students and my undergraduate. He has not seen his results, but he won one yesterday or 2 days ago and said, sir, my abstract is in Nigeria. It's on both college sponsored conference, because they will pay for your accommodation, they will pay for your feeding, they will pay for your, I don't know whether sometimes they even pay for your transportation, which is undergraduate. He hasn't seen the results, you know. So you can see that. But I've been taking him around. Sincerely, I did not actually supervise him. He said he will not allow me to rest until he becomes somebody. But I'm so happy that he's growing. But you give him to read, he will read. So planning, sir, planning.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olusegun.
Very clear.
It was really impactful. I'm sorry we won't be able to take any other question. Dr. Olusegun, thank you. I can just say it was a really wow moment for me. So we have to close right now.